なるようになっちまうもんだな。くぜ
Yakuza 0 is a game that surprised me to no end. I have known for years that people love this franchise, and it's a series I've been wanting to get into for a long time. Previous to this year, I just never had the time. But with my year of Yakuza in full swing, I finally decided to take the plunge and play all 10 mainline entries in the franchise and the 2 Judgment games before the end of the year. It's a celebration for me, not only of the franchise I've long wanted to experience, but also of my first full year of scheduled and planned videos. Initially, I was just going to review the games, but as I played through the game, I knew I had to do more. I love Zero so much, I decided to try and do a shorter top 10 video as well as the longer reviews to commemorate my newfound love for this long-running franchise. In this video, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 Yakuza 0 story moments. With that intro out of the way, you're watching Rail Deal Games, and let's dive right in. Number 10. People love Majima. The boys want to be him, and the girls thirst after him. But previous to this game, I was confused why. Every scene I saw of him was him doing some weird thing, like climbing out of a manhole or something like that. But that was back when I was an ignorant plebeian. From his first introduction, Goro Majima became my favorite character in the franchise, so far at least. The golden veneer of the Grand clashed harshly against Majima's deadpan stare and pained gaze. The way he puts up with the punishment from his entitled customer shows how Majima is a tiger caged, a man consigned to an urban prison of glamour and gold. I can only imagine what long-term fans of the franchise thought when seeing this scene for the first time. It must have been mind-blowing. Number 9. If you've ever watched a Yakuza out of context video before, you'd know how absolutely feral and out of pocket the cutscenes and story beats are. I knew that this series had a reputation of going to some insane places before I went in, but for most of the story I found it to be pretty down to earth and relatable. I had started to believe the reputation of this franchise was hyperbolized to the point of absurdity, but then this happened. Kuze, on a motorcycle, attacks Kiryu in a sewer. What a god tier setup for a pretty decent boss fight. I'm so looking forward to seeing some of the more crazy things this series is known for. Number 8. I love crime fiction. I've read plenty of crime stories and have watched most mafia films, including the entirety of Scorsese's film catalog. There are many scenes in Yakuza 0 that honestly stand up as being some of the best representations of crime fiction. And one of these scenes is when Kiryu confronts Kuze in an attempt to be expelled from the Dojima family. Through a tricky bit of wordplay, Kiryu is able to get Kuze, and by extension Sohei Dojima himself, to commit to a verbal contract, absolving Kiryu of his commitments to the Yakuza. The writing in this scene is where I started to really see the power of RGG's writing and translation teams. I expected the type of writing I'm used to from things like Persona, things that are overinflated with exposition and just quite honestly boring. Yakuza 0 snubbed that expectation pretty early on. Number 7. Nishikiyama and Kiryu are brothers in every sense except blood. They joined the Yakuza together, and it was only by an unlucky frame job they were separated. Nishiki takes Kiryu to the outskirts of town, and there he's presented with a choice. He can allow Kiryu to go, or he can kill him and absolve their father, Kazuma, of all accountability over the empty lot murder. But Nishiki isn't able to. His love for his brother beats out his love for his father. This detail makes his descent into the dark over the course of Kiwami even more tragic. Number 6. Majima gets himself into some crazy situations sometimes. In this case, he gets himself into a tense, suspenseful situation with the blind girl, Makoto Makimura. There's 2 things in particular I love about this scene. Firstly, I love the look on his face when Makoto passes him by in the small hallway of the chiropractic place. Secondly, I love the start of the fight with Lee. The roller coaster ride of going from suspense to an adrenaline-fueled hype train is just not a transition most games are able to pull off. Number 5. The Tojo captains meeting at the end of 0 is a fantastic, karmic comeuppance for Dojima to be subjected to. It is implied in this scene that Dojima has asked for the third chairman to relinquish his seat for several months before the end of the game, and by the time he chooses to, Dojima has suffered major blows due to the empty lot situation. He's passed up the chairman's seat by Sarah, and he's barely able to keep his composure together as he accepts defeat. This is the scene that explains his descent into debauchery that would later lead to his death at the hands of Nishiki at the beginning of Kiwami. Number 4. At the beginning, I was unsure of how to feel about Awano. I liked his design, and as soon as he started to take the lead on dealing with Kiryu, he began to grow on me. That scene where he's in the disco waiting for Kiryu to come out after beating the motorcycling Kuze is just amazing. But even though I liked him, his motivations for being the way he is seemed super simplistic. It was only on the reveal of his tattoo and his fight with Majima that I realized the complexity of his character arc. Tattoos matter a lot in Zero, and Awano's tattoo is of Momotaro, a hero from Japanese folklore that saves his village from an island of demons. The fact that Awano, the gluttonous lieutenant of Dojima, has this tattoo is incredibly significant. It is only on being confronted by a demon in man's flesh, Majima, that he casts off his creature comforts to live up to his tattoo's heraldry. But this story serves as an inverted version of the original folk tale because Awano has gone too far down the path of greed and glamour, so much so that he's lost his warrior and honorable spirit. Something he only gets back by protecting Majima with his life's blood. Yakuza 0 is just chock full of these symbolic characterizations, something I analyze in depth in my review of the game. Check that out if you got 50 minutes after finishing this video. There'll be a clickable card on the screen to take you right there. Number 3. Following Kuze's verbal agreement to expel Kiryu from the Yakuza, Kuze seeks to cover up his mistake by engaging Kiryu in single combat. Casting off his suit, he reveals his inked demons, and the first boss fight of the game begins. After finishing the fight, Dojima, Awano, and Shibusawa intrude on the situation. Dojima has to honor Kuze's verbal agreement, which means Kuze had to take accountability for his colossal mistake. Dojima demands his pinky in complete silence, and Kuze shows them all what kind of man he is. The finger-cutting thing is a part of the Yakuza mythos and historical reality, and I like the way this game leaned into that so heavily here. Number 2. When two dragons do a dance of death, the world stops in place. At the conclusion of the Kiryu campaign, Shibusawa finally reveals his tattoo, an inked dragon. The two dragons of Dojima, each with differing ideologies on what it means to be Yakuza, do battle. Kiryu, despite being uninked and thus unproven, strikes Shibusawa down, and as this dragon descends, he weakly croaks the words, Dragon of Dojima, declaring with his defeated breath Kiryu to be the last dragon in flight. It is at this moment Kiryu earned his ink and became the Dragon of Dojima we all know him to be. But if there's one moment in Yakuza 0 that beats out the birth of the Dragon of Dojima, it's number 1. The birth of the Mad Dog of Shimano is a death. Majima's story is of a man gone mad, and at the end of Yakuza 0, his descent into madness is complete. The only words he says are done in a whisper to Makoto's doctor because he doesn't want her to hear. If she were to hear his voice, she would know it was him. The whole reason he beats his underlings is because they nearly said his name, but his broken mind and Yakuza world would stop Makoto from maintaining her happiness. And he would rather her be happy and him alone than her with any measure of pain anymore. As he walks away, there's something in Makoto's eyes, perhaps even recognition. There's a sadness too, and as he walks away, she mourns the man Majima, who saved her. It is in story moments like this wherein the beauty of Yakuza 0's story lies. And that's the video, my guys. If you liked the video, please like, share, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what your favorite moments from Yakuza 0 are. Subscribe if you'd like to see more Rail Deal Yakuza gaming content like this. This is my second video on my Year of Yakuza content rollout for 2024, and there will be loads of Yakuza content coming as I finish each game in the franchise. If you have a moment right now, maybe consider checking out some of the videos on screen. Whatever you choose to do, have an awesome day, gamers.